Pokemon cards are continuing to grow here in 2026. The market's still real hot. Little signs of slowing down, if any. And chances are, if you pick this video, you're wanting to get into the market as well, or are just starting into the collecting phases of Pokemon. But before you get too far into the hobby, or before you get started, there's a couple of things that I've learned over the years that I'd like to share with you. And the first thing I would recommend doing for yourself is to understand why you are getting into Pokemon in general. Do you want to do this part-time to make some money by finding product in stores and flipping? Are you swept up in the nostalgic bug and you just want to relive your childhood or some other memories that you have tied to the Pokemon game? Or are you looking to start this as a part-time or full-time business, going to trade shows, opening a shop of your own? That is really the first thing I would recommend doing, is understand your motivation and why you really want to get into the hobby, so you can better understand your goals, your collecting, what you want to buy when you're out looking for product, and how you're going to approach every purchase that you make. After you've determined and understood more of yourself and why you're getting into this hobby in the first place, you should take a couple minutes and understand what type of collector or what type of person in the market do you want to be. Are you looking to be a flipper where you go to Target, Walmart, wherever stores in your area, you're looking for product and you are trying to find that at MSRP or as close to MSRP as possible? You're purchasing that, you're going home, posting it usually same day or within a week, trying to make a quick buck on it. I would say these people in the market are probably the people who are making the most people mad right now, because they all want it for themselves. They want to collect it. There's other flippers, I'm sure, complaining about it because they still want that product to make money on. I don't really have a problem with it. People have been doing it. I've been collecting for 5 years now, and I'm not necessarily a flipper myself. I've been collecting since Battle Styles, and I've still got some of that product, but I offloaded a bunch of it about in the last year finally, because it's kind of a trash set, but it made me a little bit of money finally, and I was able to jump out of that and put that money back into the hobby with some other products. I would say the reality check with this type of person in the market, or being this person who wants to get into Pokemon, is that it's really not all that easy. You've got to be connected with Discord, friends in your local cities. You got to know when you're going to be getting the products in your stores, because they are usually gone within 15 minutes to an hour in my area. Some of the loose stuff stays in stock longer, like the single packs. But if you're looking for this in the market, you're going to want to be hitting the booster bundles and the ETBs likely. And these products are gone pretty quickly. So while this is something that you can do in the market, it is very tough, because you need to have dedication and you actually have to be connected and understand the market at all times. Are you getting into this as a hobbyist? That would be the second type of person and collector we'll talk about here. So this is probably the best person in the space, in my opinion. And I would say I'm not even a full collector myself, but these are the people who genuinely love Pokemon. They collect cards, they'll collect boxes, they'll collect almost anything Pokemon. They're playing the game, they're out there getting toys, they're getting their kids into the hobby, they're pushing kind of the hobby and the brand onto their kids, but they genuinely want to enjoy the card game for what some, I would say, purists I've seen say are calling it is just the way it was meant to be played and what it was meant for. This is probably the most sustainable way, because you have a natural understanding of just wanting to be part of the market. You want to get into Pokemon cards because you've probably maybe played the games, you've watched the TV show, or something else. You don't really care about making money. You're not really worried about throwing money at a $7 booster pack and ripping it and hitting nothing. But you're also super happy when you obviously hit that big chase card. The third type of person I would say is the investor. Now, there's going to be some argument on this. I would say an investor is someone like myself who plans probably to hold the product, buy it at MSRP or whatever price you're getting it at, holding it for probably a minimum of 3 years. My goal is usually to hold it until the set is out of print, because there's usually going to see a pretty big price bump at that point. And then you are going to sell at that point and either reinvest in some newer product, hold that for longer, and you're kind of just going to continue turning over the product for a while. Some other options you can do would be buying graded cards where you are going to buy those, hold them for a while. PSA 10s hold great value. They're highly in demand always, but they do have a very large surcharge due to that PSA 10 or that 10 grade, no matter what company you're collecting, if it's Beckett, Tag, or CGC, whatever else is out there now. So these people more focus on rarity, condition, historic value, watching the trends. Myself, I think I've collected $10,000 worth of a product at MSRP or very close to it, and my collection has now grown over $70,000. I think last time I checked on my collector. So there is very steady growth. You can make a good amount of money in this space if you want. So I would say there's the collector space, the flipper space, and then we just talked about now here the investor space, who I think is in this a little bit longer term. So why is 2026 a good time to start in the Pokemon hobby? The market is completely strong. It's been growing steadily. Prices are still climbing almost every day or every week or every month. So there's always the upward trajectory if you want to be making money or you're just worried about losing money in the hobby. With that said, there's a large group of people still relevant and around playing the Pokemon game where you'll be able to connect with other people, still trade the cards with some friends, because I do partake in that a little bit myself too. The 2020 bubble, I think, was a concern for a lot of people, that with COVID, with all the extra stimulus money that was coming in, that it was just growing the market way too large, too fast, and that it was going to crash out. Well, here we are 6 years later, and the market is still going strong. Trading cards in general outside of Pokemon as well are still continuing to grow. Their sports cards are crazy. I don't know much about it, but I know One Piece is getting crazy with their prices as well. I think even maybe more so crazy than Pokemon on some levels. Lorcana came out. Seems like every company's trying to capitalize right now on releasing some sort of trading card game. So I think the market is real strong, and I think it's a great time to get in. When you're getting into the market and you're getting into Pokemon here, there are some things I'd like to say from my experience, some beginner mistakes to avoid. One would be to do some research, at least understand what you're buying, why you're buying it, understand the set. Understanding the set is important because you want to know how many good cards are in that set. Typically that's going to be a set that you'll want to collect more if you're an investor like me. Understand the hype around each set. Understand if there's any good cards that work into the competitive playing market. So if you're playing the trading card game, understand the mechanics of the game and understanding which cards could really fit in at that point in time. Set yourself also a budget. Don't get swept up in this hobby. Don't lose your house. Don't lose your marriage. Don't lose whatever else because of it. You should really focus on knowing what's your maximum you can put towards Pokemon per month, right? A lot of people calculate charges and calculate their expenditures per month. Maybe it's only $50 for you. Maybe it's $500. Maybe it's $5,000. But either way, I would say to set a limit, stick to it. The last piece of advice I think I have for beginners, I would say, would be to start small. I was wanting to get into Pokemon for a while. I kept looking at the market. I didn't really know much about it myself, and that's okay. I would say you should be a little bit informed, but you can always learn as you're continuing and growing your collection, or as you're enjoying the hobby. You'll learn things over time yourself. I jumped in with Battle Styles. I had no idea that was going to be such a bad set. I spent maybe $300 or $400, maybe $200. I don't really remember. I know I have a receipt somewhere around here that I kept to mark my journey into Pokemon. And I would say start small, get involved with the Reddit community, get involved on certain websites, talk to friends, see what they're saying about it. You're gonna have to start probably making your own judgment calls, start teaching yourself and learning hard lessons, you know. Maybe you spend $400 on this one set if you're a long-term collector or investor like I am, and it ends up being trash. Well, reflect on that. What did you learn? Why is that set bad? How can you learn from it moving forward? Same thing for singles, and same thing I would say for the trading card game. Don't buy stuff that you aren't going to play if you were playing the game. Collect fun stuff that you enjoy. Find a Pokemon you love. Find multiple you like. Stick to those. Maybe you just like the look of a card art. I know there's numerous of those for me, and understand that you're going to make mistakes along the way. Mistakes are going to happen, but learn something from those mistakes. One of the cards I love most that isn't even one of my favorite Pokemon is this Dragonair from 151. I bought it in a PSA 9 because I don't want to pay the surcharge for a PSA 10 or any graded 10s, really. I think 9s are great for a personal collection. And for me, that's my sweet spot. You might like 7s, you might like 4s, you might like 1s, you might only want 10s, that's okay. And then, like I said, there are some things you learn. Bought these two. $50, brand new at a card show. Each, I believe it was. I think I picked them up both for 90 total, sent them in for grading. One got a 10, one got a 9, and those cards have been all downhill since then. There was a bunch of hype that there's Pikachu in the foreground in the card art. I was just kind of starting to jump into singles. It seemed like a good time, seemed like a good card I could buy, get graded, hold for a little while, make some money on, and then jump to some other cards. Well, didn't work out great for me right now, so it looks like I'll be holding on to those a little bit longer, and hopefully I can make some money on them real long term. Otherwise, I will just trade those or cash out on those and put that money into something else. There's no one right way to collect Pokemon, just the right way for you. So take some time, figure out how you want to get into this hobby, why you want to get into it, identify what type of investor or collector you are, and what exactly you want out of the hobby. That's okay if you can pivot over time or if you make a pivot. I've definitely kind of jumped around and explored in different areas. So last thing, if you like this video, comment below what type of investor you are, what type of collector you are, what type of collector you want to be. Hit the like button below or hit the subscribe or both. Appreciate that. And we'll see you next time.